Welcome to HCC Community College. This is our kickoff for the Inventathon. Inventathon is a program that every semester we choose a problem to solve. This year, or this semester, we've chosen to tackle the NASA MITTIC program challenge. You'll learn more about the MITTIC program in a second from our friends at NASA. We'll be telling you what it is and what they're expecting from us. But for this semester's hackathon, we'll be aligning our solutions for that project. In the past semesters, we've tackled issues in health, we've tackled issues in upward mobility and education. This semester, we're tackling space, but also how can space technology be applied on Earth. So we're going to do a dual. We're going to tackle sustainability ideas with space tech. So that's going to be your challenge this semester, is leveraging space technologies for sustainability causes on planet Earth. And we're going to align it to the MITTIC challenge. I'm going to once again review the timeline so you guys know that today we're kicking off the orientation. I've just announced the challenges in those two themed areas. We will have a mentor session with our industry partners on September 22nd, right here at the West Loop campus. And that will be an opportunity for you to make new mentors from the industry. So for the hackathon, you cannot submit a project alone. You have to have a minimum of 3 team members to make a submission, maximum of 6. You're going to learn about that from NASA as well. They also have a similar requirement. You will need at least 1 faculty mentor to validate your proposal. Whatever you're putting together for this as a solution, you'll need at least 1 faculty member at the college. HCC has over 2,000 full-time faculty, so near 2,000 faculty members that are available to you. I'm hoping that you bug somebody in your current semester class schedule and say, "Sir, madam, can you please advise us and become our mentor?" Mentors, it is a challenge for you that we're giving from the college. Help those students come up with the greatest and the best solutions so that we could showcase the talent of Houston to our friends at NASA. I'm convinced we have some really talented people right in our backyard, right here in Houston. And the reason I'm convinced is the last time we took on this challenge for National Science Foundation, last semester in spring, we were awarded the first prize by the Community College Innovation Challenge and the National Science Foundation. You can look up the story called the CCIC. Team of 3 engineering students took away the first place nationally for their innovation that they didn't even realize that they had the skill until they took part in our program. So I'm looking for those gems as well. So without telling you too much about what's going to happen next, there's a nice flyer that's been already circulated. It's got the theme of space and innovation. We hope that you go to the website, study the website. Reading is not optional. Please read stuff. Make sure you register for stuff. Please, I took away your thunder. What that means is please just go through the documents, understand it with your teams, run it with your faculty mentors, and make sure you have the dates and times secured or saved on your calendars so that you don't miss anything. And then secondly, make sure that you reach out if you have questions. There's a contact information on the website which has an email address and a phone number. Reach out to my office. That's the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Office at Houston Community College. I'm the director, Ravi Brahma, and I run this program every semester. So each semester we choose a different challenge to solve. So reach out to me and ask me. And if I don't know the answer, most of the times I don't know the answer, but I know the people who do, right? So I will connect you with people that can help you solve that whatever question you have. So study the website, get in touch if you have questions. and show up to things. 90% of success in life is just showing up. You know who said that? You know who said that? Just tell him. The musician, Willie Nelson. 90% of success in life is just showing up, and that's literally true. The fact that you have shown up here in the audience, you guys are already what I call change makers. You guys will do something amazing. I can't wait to be part of your journey. All right, but I don't want to take away too much time. I know I'm running a little late, so I'm going to pass it over to our friends at NASA here. I'm going to welcome Dustin to the stage, and appreciate you being here. Appreciate you bringing us amazing stickers and flyers and calendars, all the goodies from NASA. Please tell us about the MITTIC challenge, and here's your clicker. You just hit that one.
All right. Thank you. Not yet. Nope. That's all right. You can. Yeah, that's fine. You can drive for me. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dustin Kinnison. I'm an education project manager within the Office of STEM Engagement at NASA. So, welcome from Johnson Space Center. It's good to see some faces in the room, and hello to everyone watching online. So, I want to begin our part of this presentation by telling you a quick story. So back in the 50s and 60s, you may be familiar with this thing called the Apollo program. It was designed to put people on the moon, right? Win the space race with the Soviet Union. So in the process of being able to do that, NASA realized that we've got to invent things that don't exist, right? So one of the things that they invented as part of this space race was a thing called temper foam. Temper foam was designed to fit within the seats of space vehicles to keep the astronaut comfortable and regulated thermally during their trips to space. Since that product was developed in the 60s, there's a company that you are probably now familiar with as Tempur-Pedic. They make mattresses. They actually used that technology and licensed it from NASA and created this giant global multi-million-dollar brand that you now know as Tempur-Pedic, the mattress company. The reality is, not only has memory foam been used in mattresses, and if you could go to the next slide for me, actually, yeah, there we go. So not only is memory foam a part of mattresses, it's also a part of shoes, it's part of pillows, it's part of car seats. Pretty much any aspect of cushioning in the world has some version, variety, or offshoot of what was originally a NASA technology. So again, it's a space-purposed item that now has influenced the world, and everybody knows what memory foam is. The reality of it is, you guys live in an age where this is super, super common. Let's go to the next slide, please. So all of the things that you rely on every day, and I see people typing and taking pictures and texting on their cell phones in the room, that possibility to use cloud computing was a NASA technology. Lithium-ion batteries, NASA technology. There are thousands and thousands of products that you don't even know on a daily basis started as NASA technology. That's part of why the space program is so important, because it doesn't just put people in space. It improves life here on Earth. And that's the challenge that we want to bring to you all, because you are students, you are approaching the next big phase of your life as college students. You're ready to make your mark on the world. And our activity that we do is a perfect space for you to get your feet wet in that pursuit. So if we could go actually back 2 slides real quick. Thank you. So our acronym, we are a true NASA program. Our MITTIC is actually an acronym within an acronym. So the M in MITTIC stands for the Minority University Research and Education Project, which is a special branch of NASA that focuses their efforts solely on providing students that go to minority serving institutions like HCC an opportunity to engage with NASA missions, have access to NASA funding, and do things that everybody else gets to do. So we are the Innovation and Tech Transfer Competition. That's the rest of our MITTIC acronym. So we want you to be innovators. We want you to use your brain to change the world. We know that you see the way things are in a different way than the people who invented all of these NASA technologies, which is why these spin-off concepts even exist in the first place. Because somebody said, hey, that's a cool thing we invented for space, but you know what we could do with that here on Earth that would be even better and influence a whole lot more people and make a whole lot more money? That's what we want you to do. We want you to engage in this process. So we have established this competition to be your space to pitch your ideas for NASA technology. All right, so if we could go forward 3 slides. One more. All right, so let's talk about how this competition works. So as Ravi said, right now we are in the open proposal, which is our phase 1 of our challenge. We actually run this competition 2 times a year. We run it in the fall semester and the spring semester. We're looking for your ideas. The open proposal phase is all about you picking a NASA technology and coming up with your use for it. Is it a product? Is it a service? Is it a use for that NASA technology? And we want you to put a proposal together that says, this is what it is. This is how we would use the technology. This is how we would make money at it. This is how much money is available in the marketing space for it. All those things that you would normally see like on a Shark Tank pitch. We're looking for you to put that together into a proposal. And part of that proposal also includes a short pitch video that gives us the narrative that tells us the story about why your product or service will change the world. Once we close the open window for proposals, that's when we actually send those out through a review process that we have. So we have our internal NASA reviewers. We also have industry partners. We have education partners that review the proposals that we get, and they score them for us. And then we actually select teams to move on to phase 2. And phase 2 is when the real fun starts, because if your team is selected for phase 2, we're paying for you to come down and hang out with us at Johnson Space Center, see lots of cool, awesome things like mission control, the neutral buoyancy lab where they do spacewalk training with the astronauts, the Saturn V rocket in Rocket Park, and also do some really important networking with people outside of NASA from our commercial partners that we work with. We're also going to give you the opportunity to present your proposal as a full pitch, just like you would see on Shark Tank, but we're NASA, so we call it Space Tank, right? So every team will get their 10 minutes to pitch their idea in the Space Tank, and there will be a panel of judges, just like there is on Shark Tank, that will converse with you, get more information about your idea, and then our judges pick a winner on Space Tank Day. And the winning team wins $20,000, and the second place team will earn $10,000, which is a new thing for us this year, adding a second place prize. I want to take just a quick moment here to talk to the faculty members that are tuning in. $2,500 of that prize money is sent directly to you as a PI stipend. So we take that $2,500 chunk out, we send it to you directly. The rest of the money goes to the institution, and you help the institution, HCC, work with how you're going to distribute that with the students and work all that out. All right, so there's a lot on the line here. There's a few more things I'll talk about in just a second, but one other big thing. If you are the winning team of Space Tank, not only is there $20,000 on the line, there's also another in-person experience, which is our phase 3 of the competition, where we will fly you to Ames Research Center, which is in California, Silicon Valley. And you will get to do some networking and touring with the experts that are at NASA Ames, as well as some of the private companies that exist in Silicon Valley. Our big one that we took a tour of last year was Lucid Motors, which is like the #1 competitor of Tesla right now. So we got to see their design studio, visit with their engineers. It was a really comprehensive behind-the-scene look. So there is quite a bit of benefit to moving your team into this competition, obviously being selected for phase 2, and then if you win it, you get the ultimate value of the Ames experience. And again, we're picking up your travel and hotel for that. So the school and you personally, you don't have to figure out how am I going to pay for a hotel or a plane ticket to get there. We got you. We got you on that. All right, so don't worry about that. The only thing you got to take care of is your meals, and the rest of it we will take care of for you. All right, so let's talk about some of the other benefits. If we could go to the next slide real quick. There we go. So there's a couple of other things to talk about that if you're not convinced yet to do this, here's a few more things. One of them, for the students in the room, we provide internship opportunities. So if you're looking for how do I get a NASA internship, every semester, so every group of MITTIC students that we select for phase 2, that student pool is eligible to fill out applications for internships. And those internships are ones that we push through for you on behalf of the MITTIC team. So in other words, the people who are everywhere else in the world applying for these internships, they're not qualified for them. Only MITTIC students can apply to them. So it's a much smaller pool. They are paid internships, so we don't expect you to just donate your time. It is a paid internship. Other things, I talked about all the cool places you get to see, like NDL and Mission Control. We work with a lot of really important external business partners. So yes, the NASA people are important for you to talk to, but NASA doesn't operate by itself, right? We have lots of commercial partnerships. In our spring competition last year, we had companies like JP Morgan Chase and VentureWell and Microsoft that sent individuals to have conversations with our student teams and faculty members about other opportunities in the entrepreneurship and innovation space beyond just what's available through NASA. And then we also have several rounds of coaching that we work you through with these business and NASA experts to try to give you more experience, so that the ultimate goal here is not that you just have something to do this semester or next semester. It's so that you can be your own boss at some point, right? You don't have to go take a job for a different company. You can start your own company, be your own boss, manage your own business. That's where we want to see you go as a part of participating in our competition. Next slide, please. All right, so let's talk about the parameters, because we got to make sure we cross all the T's and dot all the I's. Make sure you understand what you have to do to participate. So as Ravi mentioned, we are looking for teams. So this is not an individual sport. This is a team activity. So teams of 3 to 6 students along with a faculty member. The faculty member and the students can be of any discipline you want. NASA does not operate in a bubble, right? We don't just have a bunch of engineers running around campus. We have engineers, we have business majors, we have accountants, we have graphic designers, we have communications majors. My colleague Olivia and I are former educators. We have teaching degrees. So NASA can use anybody from any background. You have a value that you bring to a team to put a proposal together for MITTIC. You see things differently than every other person in the room or on the team. So you add value no matter what. So all majors are welcome to apply to this competition. Again, we do this twice a year. So ultimately, we'd love to see you put a proposal together by October 16th. As Ravi mentioned, there's going to be some things that HCC is doing to try to help you get that ready to go. If you don't get it put together by October 16th, there's still another spring round. So we have a spring level competition that's the same as the fall. So once we finish the fall competition, we basically just wipe the slate clean and open it up for new proposals for next spring. The other benefit that I will add to proposing for the fall semester is that if you are not selected for phase 2, so you write your paper, you submit your pitch video, we say, sorry, you didn't make the cut this time. We can still provide you some feedback from the reviewers that review your proposal, and you can use that information to retool your proposal and then resubmit it for the spring competition. Once you are submitted and get to the point where you've accepted to phase 2, if you want to compete again, now you got to come up with a new idea and use a new NASA technology. But if your idea doesn't make it to phase 2, we welcome the idea of you taking it and retooling it and resubmitting it for the next competition. So there is some value to trying to propose for fall, even if you're not 100% happy with where it's at. So again, there's 2 things just to clarify that you have to submit for your competition for phase 1 to be considered for phase 2. A 5 to 8 technical paper, and there are rubrics for these, by the way, and our challenge guidelines, which is on our website. There's all the information you could want. For those in the room, please make sure you grab a flyer and or the info card, because those have QR codes on them that you can scan You don't have to remember what it is and type it in and all of that. But you need a technical paper and a pitch video. And again, rubrics for those are in the challenge guidelines. We tell you exactly what we're looking for. What areas do you need to pay attention to when you're writing this paper out? What should you cover in the pitch video? How should it be laid out? Excuse me. Once you get selected for phase 2, then we have you do like a poster so that you can present that poster in front of all our NASA technical experts that are on site down at JSC, and a few other short deliverables as well. So you can see that phase 2 for the fall takes place from November 29th to December 1st. So the week after Thanksgiving, that would be the week, if you are selected for phase 2, that you would come to Johnson Space Center, do the touring, the networking, pitch in Space Tank, and just do all the cool MITTIC NASA things. Again, we'll redo this all in the spring. So the on-site in 2024 will be April 24th through 26th. And then May of next year, 2024, that's when the Ames experience happens. So the one team that wins Space Tank in the fall and the one team that wins Space Tank in the spring will go to Ames in May of 2024. All right, next slide. A few more things we need to talk about eligibility-wise. Oh, keep going. We'll skip the counter. And there we go. All right, so we do have some minimum requirements that you have to make on an individual level. You have to be 18. You do have to be a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident to be on a team that's selected for phase 2. I'll speak to my international students in just a minute. You do have to be enrolled full-time through at least phase 2. So if you're graduating in December, you need to make sure you submit a proposal for the fall because you won't be eligible for the spring. If you do submit for the fall, we select you to phase 2, you win the competition, you graduate in December, you can still come with your team to May, to the Ames experience in May next year. We won't leave you out of that. We do allow mixing and matching of graduate and undergraduate students, so please take that into consideration when building your team. And we do promote partnerships. So if you have friends that go to other, especially local area institutions, get with them and partner on a proposal. We're fine with that. There are a lot of other MSIs in the Houston area that you may not know of that are MSIs, like U of H and TSU and Prairie View A&M, University of St. Thomas, Houston Christian University. These are all MSIs, so you don't have to worry about, well, what % of our team goes to an MSI. Those are all MSIs, so you can have as many mix and match as you want with students from those institutions. If you choose to partner with a school that is not an MSI, you can still do that, but your faculty member here at HCC has to be like the primary faculty member, and again, 60% of the team has to go here to HCC, so you can have potentially 1 or 2 other students at that other institution. Next slide.
Justin,
yeah.
The next slide, there is a question on chat.
Okay.
What if I'm not 18 yet?
As long as you're 18 by the end of November, or 18 for next semester.
How about can an 18-year-old or about to be 18 be part of a team that's full of 18?
So if you're not 18, you will not be eligible for phase 2. So that I'll speak to that and the international students. So international students, for national students, we hate to have to break the bad news, but unfortunately we can't get you on site for phase 2. The benefit of still contributing to a team is that you still get the benefit of the experience of what it takes to put together a proposal, work through the process. Excuse me. We also, if the team comes to phase 2 and wins Space Tank, 1st or 2nd place, and that money is sent to the institution, how your faculty member and the school figures out what to do with that money, that we have no control over that, and we don't want to have any control over that. So if the school decides that that money is going to go to student stipends, like paying you for the time that you put into this, the foreign national students or under 18 students could still benefit on that side of things. Plus, you still get to add on your own personal resume that you were on the team that submitted an accepted proposal for a MITTIC or a NASA competition. So there are some benefits. We wish that we could get you on site with phase 2, but we are required legally to restrict the age and the citizenship on that one. So we understand that it is takes a little bit of the sting out of it to not be able to come see all the cool stuff at Johnson Space Center, but we hope that you would still consider partnering with some other students to work on a proposal.
All right, question 2 is, can a student compete in 2 teams?
Students may only be on 1 team per semester. So if you have 2 ideas, you're going to need to work with 1 team for the fall, let's say. And if you have another idea, you would need to either use that team or form a new team to try a different idea in the spring. That's a good question. So we do allow, if we go to the next slide, we do allow faculty members to sponsor up to 3 teams per cycle. So faculty members in the room, if you have lots of students that are interested in this, you can sponsor up to 3 teams in the fall and then another 3 teams in the spring. We do cap the limit at 3. So if you have 4 teams of students, you're going to have to pick the best 3 to submit to our competition. Again, we do allow partnerships. We just want to make sure that everybody understands that if you partner with another school, we want to make sure that the HCC faculty member is the primary faculty member, the one that we will invite to come to Johnson Space Center if you're selected for phase 2, because they represent the minority serving institution. Yes?
For clarification, what's asking, they hold a green card, or they're a permanent resident, maybe else?
Yes, lawful permanent residents, green card holders can be on a team and come to phase 2. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about the technology part of this, because again, in order to put together a proposal for MITTIC, there has to be a NASA IP, a NASA technology involved. We understand that people who may want to be engaged in this competition are not engineers. We don't want you to have to be an engineer to do this. So what we've done is try to take a little bit of the legwork out of it for you, and we've put together this sample technology list. The technologies that you see here, the 45 on the screen, which again, if you go to our website, there's a NASA IP button that you can click on. It'll pull this up for you. They're all hyperlinked, so you can click on one at a time if you'd like. These technologies have lots of foundational information for you to use as kind of a Kickstarter to think about how could I use this in a way that it was not intended to be used. We would suggest that you start with these 45 and look through this list first, because again, they have, in most cases, a webinar that is attached to the file on the hyperlink, which was given by, in most cases, the inventor of the technology. And they explain how they came up with it, how they used it, in some cases, even potential applicational uses for it that are Earth-based instead of space-based. So we would recommend that you start with that list of 45. You do not have to use anything from that list. If you go to the NASA patent portfolio, which again is hyperlinked within that IP document, it will take you to the whole big NASA patent portfolio. It is thousands and thousands and thousands of technologies big, and it covers all of the different areas that you would think are relevant to NASA technology. So if you're a computer science person, there are software IPs in there. There are biomedical, there are health, there are environmental, there are, of course, power and electrical and those typical concepts that you would think of with STEM, but there are all kinds of them out there. You can use the search feature to look for specific things. So if you're a person that's sitting here going, well, I've already kind of come up with an idea for like this cool thing that I want to do, how do I get a NASA IP in that so I can submit it for this competition? The search function on that patent portfolio is probably going to be your best choice. Whatever the key thing is about your project or your product, go search for that within the NASA patent portfolio or the whatever kind of field that it fits in, if it's electrical, if it's power, if it's biological, if it's like biology type things. Look for things that are similar so that you can try to incorporate some NASA IP into whatever project you may have already started with. But again, we try to get you to start here with this list of 45 first, because it can be overwhelming to go through that thousands and thousands and thousands of IPs that are on that patent portfolio. But again, you do not have to pick any of these 45. Go look through the patent portfolio if you so choose and if you have the time to do so. All right, next slide, please. So just to reiterate one more time, we don't necessarily want MITTIC to be a one-stop shop for you. We don't want it to be just something that you do for a semester and then you're like, okay, that was cool. Now I'm back to my normal life and what do I want to do? We want you to be able to go through this experience with the ultimate goal of turning this thing into a real business that makes money, that potentially you can own and operate and make enough money that you don't have to work for anybody else. So we try to make sure that you understand the avenues that you have available to you upon your participation with our activity. So the phase 2 teams that are selected, we try to make sure that you are acquainted with, and that's why I brought up the places like JP Morgan Chase, VentureWell, venture-backed. These are companies that have their own independent financial resources that you can tap into to potentially get some investment to start your business. We understand that $20,000 is not a lot. $10,000 is not a lot in comparison to what a startup funding may take. So we want to make sure that you understand what other pathways are available to you as a company, as a business, as a group, and in some cases as an institution, because we want HCC to be able to benefit from this competition as well. So we make sure that those conversations are had when you're on site with us so that you can figure out what your plan is to move forward from after you compete with us. All right, next slide. This slide is just here to make sure you understand that the website is your one-stop shop for all things NASA MITTIC. There are resources there like this video, which is kind of a quick, like, think about how to write a pitch in a 3 to 5 minute window. There are other things there. There are other resources for you to think about in terms of, like, what do I want to do beyond just competing in MITTIC? The rubrics are there. The challenge guidelines are there. The NASA technologies, the sample list is there. We also have a hyperlink to an open office hours session, which Olivia and I are at every Monday and Thursday from noon to 1 p.m. Please feel free to hit that whenever you feel like you need to talk to us and ask questions. We are there and available for that reason. So drop by, come and see us. Just come say, hey, we never know who we may have dropping in. So feel free to come and check that out. If you have people that you want to hear about MITTIC that couldn't make today's session, but you want them to talk to us instead of you trying to explain it all, bring them to our office hours. We're more than happy to walk through these slides again, refresh your mind, reiterate some details, or again, answer any specific questions that you have. So again, please check out the website, go.nasa.gov/NASAMITTIC. And there is the QR code for those of you that are watching online. If you're in the room, you have the flyers and the QR code is already on that. So you don't necessarily have to grab a picture of it here. Again, the website is where you can get the link to join the Teams meeting. Our email is here. If you would rather directly reach out to us through email, please do that. We monitor that inbox regularly. So if you have questions that some people are not real extroverted and don't like having the one-on-one conversations, that's fine. We don't want you to be intimidated by this competition. Okay, we want you to make sure you understand that this is for you. You can compete in this competition. Just to kind of sell you on that point a little bit more, the team that won last fall's competition is from literally right down the road at the University of St. Thomas. They won last fall's competition, and so they are not in that picture because that's the spring But the picture that I had up there with the MITTIC benefits of the Lucid motors with their little car frame on there, 10 of those students were from the University of St. Thomas. We had bigger team allotments last year. But anyway, so it's not beyond the scope of your ability. We're not talking about like the major powerhouses like MIT that come to this competition and wipe the floor with people. This is for you. This is for you to be able to have a space to engage with us, to have an opportunity to potentially even start your NASA career. We have a student that works as a flight controller in mission control who was a MITTIC student. He was a MITTIC participant, graduated, and he's now working at Johnson Space Center. Yeah.
I would just like to point out your attention to these white people.
I'm happy to hear that HCC is ready to wipe the floor with people. We welcome your high-level ideas and projects. Bring them on. All right, so with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions if there are any. We will also, we are in the back. If you're in the room, please grab some stuff. We brought all kinds of swag for you. There's NASA stickers, Artemis stickers. There are calendars, which they're 2023, and there's only a few months left in 2023. So please grab. You can take as many as you like. Grab them. We have flyers. We'll make sure that Robbie sends out our digital flyer for those of you that are not here in person to get the paper version. Yeah. 2 questions.
So why smaller teams this year? Why doesn't it only six and one?
Well, the main reason is because we want to be able to have more teams participate. The smaller we make each team, the more teams we can get in. Yes, sir.
Would it be possible just real quick to overview the application process, mentors, just show what's involved in it, register in the action process?
So we could potentially look at it. It's not terribly complicated. In most cases, we actually have the student team lead submit the proposal. All of the proposals go through the NASA STEM Gateway proposal submission system, and that's not just for MITTIC, that's all NASA activities. So basically, if you just have your student team lead do it, all they have to do to submit the proposal is create their account, fill out their personal information, and then they'll be able to upload their proposal, which is again the paper and either a hyperlink to like a YouTube video, or they can even upload the actual video itself to the proposal. And then that's all we need to do selection process. If the team is selected for phase 2, then at that point we will contact the team lead, and the team lead has to usually fill out their faculty sponsor in their application. And then we will send that email out like, hey, you've been accepted. We want you to participate. And at that point, they will send out, the team lead can send out invitations to invite the other team members to the proposal.
How long is
the technical paper is 5 to 8 pages, and the video is 3 to 5 minutes. Yes.
Share what the paper rubric looks like, so they have any questions on what it looks like.
Yeah, we can. If you want to grab it, pull it up. We can look at it. It's not overly complicated. Basically, it's just making sure that you understand the main areas on which the reviewers will review that. If you could just go to just go to the website. That's probably the easiest place to get it. So they are embedded within the challenge guidelines, but there's also a resources section that has each rubric that you can access individually, so you don't have to sort through the challenge guidelines.
There's no template, right?
There is no template. We want to make sure that you have the creative ability to write it how you want it to be. We try to be as minimally invasive on the process as possible. So, the minimum requirements on length, and then, of course, we don't want it to be micro dot size. So we do set some page margin and some text size limits and things like that.
Pulling it up on the browser.
And we're working on bringing that up for those who are watching online.
base screen, but one of the
So I would have to look that up to tell you. Actually, I would assume that it has something to do with the conditions of the regulated space, like within the spacecraft and within like the ISS.
You have to, I appreciate your validation of this, but you mentioned engineering, you mentioned computer science. There's a lot of biology, I think, oriented opportunities.
Yes.
And manufacturing kind of thing. That kind of stuff. There may be other stuff out there.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up manufacturing. So materials and coatings is one whole category of IPs. Materials science is a huge part of what NASA does in developing those different materials. Another one is sensors. So sensors is a big one that we see pretty frequently, and there are sensors that can sense all wide variety of stuff. And again, it's just about you taking the idea and doing, coming up with a new use for it beyond what it was originally for. So this is the technical paper rubric. Again, this is meant to just help you understand what is going to be assessed by the reviewers when they look at your proposal. So the majority of the paper, as you can see, are those major areas, things like innovation, commercial viability, feasibility, creating a work plan. So one of the things I did not probably emphasize enough is the importance of trying to get a multidisciplinary team. Look for business people, look for engineering people, look for graphics people, because each one of those people brings something different. A STEM major me like, what's a work plan? I don't know what that is. Okay? Your business people know what that is. They've been taught what work plans look like and how workflows and Gantt charts and things like that. They understand that. The engineering people may understand the IP better and have a better understanding of how can this really be used effectively in this new product. The graphic design people, the communications majors, they know how to put your pitch together so that it actually sells the product to the people reviewing your proposal. So everybody brings something different to this. The best teams are the multidisciplinary teams, the teams that involve STEM majors, business majors, and pretty much anybody else that you can think of that you would take a different look at your proposal than what you look at it through.
If I may also just add, what you're seeing here, the details, is what we want to cover at the mentoring sessions at day 1 of the Inventathon, where the links are already public and they are relevant. We've shared the entire MITTIC packet to everyone who's registered or registering. So you'll have to read not only, these events that you should be attending, but also the requirements that we'll be designing our solutions towards. So the link is in the chat as well. The recording will be shared as well. This is what you're going to get graded on. So, but we will intentionally have events like the September 22nd event. We're asking you to dedicate 4 hours of your time to work on this together with a faculty and an industry partner, to know the details that you need to. Now, if you get a head start today and you draft out, 20 pager, bring that on the day of the mentoring session so you can truncate it into a 5-8 pager. Or you just have an outline of 1 pager today. On that day, have the mentor work with you to go ahead and expand on your thinking. So the idea there is you're not having to just do this alone. I think that's what Dustin said. Don't do this alone.
Absolutely.
There are well over 80 other students that have registered. There's about 45 of us listening to this combined here and online. Talk to people in your class and let them know, hey, would you like to take part in this? Other classes. Leverage this opportunity. And then, if there are no other questions, I'd like to also invite, Billy on the stage here as an industry expert. because I think what Willie can offer is where else can you go in Houston to find mentors and support for these type of activities? Because Dustin earlier had a slide that talked about access to $1 million if you went for the SBIR grant. So money is not the reason a great idea is not successful. It's never the money. I don't have money, I can't start a business. No. We're partnering with University of St. Thomas on many initiatives, including one where we're giving away $60,000 for startups for veterans and military this semester. That's just one example. Money is not a reason a good idea is not brought to. Willie, if you could just introduce yourself to our students as an industry expert, and then also just someone that knows our Houston community well, because you've gone to every meeting of SCORE plus 50 others. So if you don't mind sharing with our students other resources they can leverage.
There are so many resources in town.
Willie, the mic is here.
Yeah.
Or just, yeah.
I'll stay here. Okay, who's Willie? Born and raised in Belgium. I have 5 masters. I built nuclear power plants. I've been the CEO of 10 companies, billion-dollar companies. I lived in 5 countries, spoke 8.5 languages. Had manufacturing plants in 186 countries around the world. And I worked for 20,000 people. Did not work for me. I became a servant leader. Then I retired and became a serial entrepreneur. Started 4 companies, sold all 4 companies. Retired again, became the chairman of the Belgian Chamber of Commerce here in Texas and Southwest in 9 states. Chairman of the Mayor of Houston International Trade and Development Council, all economic missions coming and going from the city I was in charge of. Then with a friend we built the World Chamber of Commerce. I'm still the chairman of that. We have in Houston 90 consulates and 50 international chambers. The World Chamber is like an umbrella organization over the 50. And then 4 years ago, I joined SCORE, Service Corps or Retired Executives, basically helping young people and small businesses start up, access to funds, business plans, marketing plans, cash flow projections. And since I left SCORE, I'm now a mentor of 17 of the incubators in town. And there are so many resources that you can access. Most of them are for free. I can help you with all kinds of contacts, left and right, with people in different industries, different fields, different things that you might need in your research, in your project. So don't hesitate. Think about space as same thing as what we do here on Earth. We go to space, we're going to do everything that we do here on Earth. So think broad in your mind, in your ideas. Don't restrict. Think about what drones can do on the moon. Think what food can do over the moon. Think what radiation protection we're going to need to go to Mars. All kinds of things you can think of that NASA has already thought at some level. And then think how you can use those kinds of things here on Earth. What are the lessons from NASA and from Mars and from the moon that we can use here to make our life better and more efficient? So don't hesitate to reach out. If we can help, we'll be there.
Awesome. And Willie is an industry mentor available to you. So if you're here in person, make sure you get his business card or a way to contact him. He's just an amazing, very educated, very talented, but also a very kind human being. He does 2 things that I really like. He's kind and he's helpful. If you get nothing else out of the entire Inventathon program or out of the NASA MITTIC program, and thanks to Dustin, a round of applause for him for bringing this opportunity to us. But if you don't get anything else out of this thing, just walk away knowing that if you're kind and if you're helpful, good things will happen to you in your career, in your entrepreneurial journey or intrapreneur journey, whatever journey. But in order to be helpful, you have to be educated. You cannot help someone change a tire if you don't know how to change a tire yourself. So in that, with that analogy, I just want to tell you, hey, Willie's back. I inspired him. Yeah. Okay, go for it.
The key to success in life and in business is 3 letters. EMA. E for your education. The broader your education, the more you'll understand things in life. That's how you use your brain. You cannot live without a brain. The second is M, it's your motivation, your passion. Why do you do what you do? That's your heart. You cannot live without a heart. The third, the most important one, is your attitude. Positive can-do attitude. Focus on solutions, never on the problems. And if you have these three, nobody can stop you in life.
That's great advice. That's really good advice. So, your motivation to be here, thanks for being here. Your attitude in solving problems for our world, leveraging resources from our friends at MITTIC. Let's put this into action. The challenge has been announced. You're looking for solutions that are sustainable or focused on sustainability using space tech that comes from NASA. That's your challenge for the Inventathon this semester. Whatever we develop, the top 3 ideas will make it to their website and for them to review. And then they will announce their phase 1 winners accordingly. We may not win, but at least we took a chance at it, right? I'm convinced that we're gonna, what you call it, sweep the floor? We're gonna wipe the floor, sweep the floor, whatever, because I'm convinced we've got really talented people in our community. So faculty, you can submit up to 3 teams. Students, you could submit 1. So pick 1 team, 1 idea, and put all your energy and resources on building that idea, and then show it to us, bring it up, reach out to us. But it is 1 o'clock. I would like to wrap up the event.